Hi guys, how are we doing today? My name is McCry's Doolin, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of everything freaky and full of mystery. Here we work on a current project from Native Crow, Taxidermy and Oddities LLC, while I tell stories under topics of the supernatural, downright shocking, or uncomfortably cringy. Here are a few places you could find me, like me, share me, and subscribe to my channel to keep up with new projects and posts weekly. So today we are working in a new setting. We are outside because I need to flesh this possum skin here. It's already sat in some chemicals, some pickling agents, and some tanning chemicals. I usually use the Crow Tan, non-sponsored. That's an all-in-one tanning solution, and it's kind of one of the top ones I've been using lately. I've used quite a few different ones, and right now this one has been my favorite. So today we're just going to be kind of fleshing this piece while I tell a story. Today's topic will be under the uncomfortably cringy. So typically when I think uncomfortably cringy, I think of a foreign thing that enters or attaches to your body. And with us working outside today, one of the things that is heavy on my mind is parasites. So today's topic will be under a very specific parasite that I've been seeing a lot of this year. And standing out here working on this project today actually has me feeling a little bit paranoid about this creature. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up with a couple on me today. Typically, when we think about parasites, we think of invasive worms that live in the body and absorb nutrients. But a parasite is actually any creature that attaches to or enters the body and feeds on a host. It doesn't always take the shape of a worm. Today, we will be talking about a parasite that crawls on the surface of your skin and finds a soft spot to attach. It waits for its target to brush past it as it'll reach out and grab on. It's a miniature vampire, and one that has been exceptionally abundant this year for some reason. Some of you may have already guessed what creature we are talking about today. This nasty little parasite is a tick. There are many different kinds of ticks all across the world. They are even found and capable of thriving in extreme areas as cold as Antarctica to places as hot as sub-Saharan Africa. There are actually over 980 species of ticks globally. In the United States, there are around 90 different species, but the most common are the deer tick, dog tick, brown tick, and lone star tick. Ticks are commonly high risk for transmitting pathogens and diseases to humans. They feed on both humans and animals, and often hop from one host to another. When they host hop, that is actually where the threat of disease starts. The deer tick is a small red-brown colored tick with black legs that tracks and grabs onto almost any animal. This is a tick that is commonly known for carrying and transmitting Lyme disease. Lyme disease is a bacterial infection that can start out causing headaches and fever, along with bullseye ring around the bite, and if left untreated, it can progress to causing stiffness, joint pain, and body aches, arthritis, and even neurological issues. If the infection is caught early, a course of oral antibiotics can heal someone from this disease or make it so mild it's no longer a concern. But do all deer ticks possess this disease? The answer is no. Deer ticks don't just possess the disease, nor do they gain it from deer. They are actually only called a deer tick simply because the deer is its primary host. The female ticks need a mass amount of blood to feed on during their final stage of life. There is a specific animal, however, that the deer tick does contract the Lyme disease from. This animal is a mouse. Mice are well known for being carriers of diseases and disease-spreading parasites. There are some mice who carry and are infected with the bacteria that Lyme disease is associated with. As a hatchling or seed tick, it will find a mouse to attach to. The baby tick can't move as far or as fast, being so little, so a mouse is an easy target to grab onto. Once attached, it'll feed for about 3 to 5 days before it drops off and starts its new task in life. As it lays on the ground where it dropped, it'll then start to molt and shed its skin. As a larvae, the tick has 6 legs, but in the transformation stage of shedding and growing, it develops another set of legs, making it a blood-sucking arachnid. It does this to grow into a nymph, which is an almost mature tick. The tick needs to eat at every stage of life. The deer tick will find a new host and feed for an additional 3 to 5 days. If a deer tick bites you at this stage of life, it is very important to know the duration of its attachment. Timing can spare a host from the contraction of Lyme disease, as it takes 24 hours to take hold in your system. If a tick is spotted attached to the surface of the skin, removing it needs to be done carefully to also aid in avoiding getting the disease. It is very important to pick as close to the head as possible, without squeezing the body and pushing the bacteria from the tick to the host. Having the tick's barbed mouthpiece burrowed into the bloodstream brings high risk to contracting the disease. They typically don't like the sun and try to attach to soft tissue. This is why they are typically found in more hidden places on the body, such as the ears, back of the head, and armpits. I usually find ticks attached to the back of my head where my hairline is. If the tick is successful in going unnoticed, it will feed and then drop as it sheds again into its final stage of life. Now the tick is an adult. It is ready to reproduce and finish its mission in life. The adult tick will find a larger host, common ones being deer, dogs, or even humans. They latch on in a hidden location after mating and feed off of the blood. Females will grow quite large in size, growing to look like a large pale bean. She will feast for several days as her eggs develop inside her. Like the other stages of life, when she has grown large and is ready to lay her eggs, she will detach from the body and drop to the ground. Here, she lays still, unable to move as her legs are too small to support her massive body. In this spot, she will start to lay her eggs. Ticks can lay anywhere between 3,000 and 10,000 eggs. Tick eggs can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months to hatch, depending on what species of tick, and what climate they are laid in. When she's done laying all the eggs, that will be the end of her life. All of the ticks' life cycles occur over the course of 2 to 3 years. In the many years these creatures live, they will only feed 3 times, once over the course of a few days during each stage of life. Ticks are capable of doing so because they can slow their metabolism down and avoid burning energy. They also spend most of their living time waiting for their prey to brush past them. At that point, they reach out and grab on. There's no need for the tick to exert extra energy to find food. However, ticks do know when food is close by picking up carbon dioxide release by the animal. They can also feel the vibrations caused by movement. If a tick is waiting up in the trees, it knows exactly when to drop from the branch and land on its target by using these senses. Ticks hunt with patience, and if successful, going unnoticed, can achieve their entire life goal. There are many different types of ticks, but deer ticks are the primary one who hop from host to host. Most other ticks will live their entire lives on one host for years. While I think Lyme disease would suck to have, there is another illness a particular type of tick can carry that I would just absolutely hate to have. This illness is the alpha-gal syndrome, transmitted by the Lone Star tick. The Lone Star tick will transmit this through a sugar molecule called alpha-gal, and what this does is cause the host, a human, to become sick after ingesting meats and some animal products. Now, I am someone who not only likes to eat meat, but I am also one who drinks a crap ton of milk and loves my ice cream. I would fall apart if I couldn't even have those things. An infected person will become sick 2 to 6 hours after eating red meats every time they try. The only meats that don't affect the person are chicken, fish, and eggs. The human's immune system identifies these sugar molecules as a threat and release antibodies. This immune response is what causes the body to become sick after eating meat. It is like having an allergic reaction. In some extreme cases, even dairy products can make someone sick. The sugar molecule can be transmitted to a person in just one bite from one of these ticks. Lone Star ticks typically live in the warmer southern states of the United States, but here in recent years the tick has been spotted in more northeastern parts of the country. From 2010 to 2022, there are a suspected 110,000 cases across the nation. While they haven't been confirmed or medically diagnosed, some reports of symptoms indicate that many people have been affected. It is very rare, but sometimes this disease can even result in death. The Lone Star tick is also a high threat to people because of its speed. It moves 3 times faster than the deer tick as it navigates its way around the body. And they are known to find a spot to attach much faster too. Not every person who gets bit will develop the allergic reaction, but a high number of people do. And the tick doesn't have to be attached for a certain amount of time to transmit this. As soon as the sugar molecule comes in contact with the bloodstream, the infection can set in. This illness doesn't affect other animals like it does humans. The reason humans experience these symptoms is because we don't naturally possess the sugar molecule that is associated. Most other animals already have it in their bodies, so it isn't foreign to them, causing an allergic reaction. With how rapidly ticks can multiply and reproduce, and how these ticks in particular are now migrating and finding their way northern, the number of cases will likely spike and increase. These nasty little creatures pose a huge threat to humans, not only as consumers, but also as farmers. Thinking about this illness spreading will affect the number of meat sales and change the game of farming. This could be someone's livelihood at risk. Now, there are some conspiracies surrounding why the number of ticks has been so insanely high this year. Some think it's an attack on the nation. There are many people that don't agree with the lifestyle of eating meat. Some believe that the rapid spread of Lone Star ticks is plotted by influencers and the government to try to force the nation to live a more vegan lifestyle. There was even talk that Bill Gates had planned for this to happen, to force people to no longer be able to eat meat. There are even claims of him funding the release of modified ticks. That the ticks aren't naturally migrating to these other locations, but that they are actually being dropped or planted in these locations. Supposedly, people have claimed boxes of ticks have been dropped in major farms to aid in allowing the ticks to attach to livestock, allowing them to live full term and lay thousands of eggs. Thinking about everyone coming to the point of no longer being able to eat meats or dairy products just seems like a crazy world. And it's not going to help save the lives of the animals. If all of this is some part of an animals' rights movement, it's not actually helping them. If anything, we will just become overpopulated with cattle and these farm animals, and they will fight for survival. If you really think about it, the growing human population is only taking away land and resources for these animals. They are grazing animals, and without the land to graze, the competition will only drive these poor animals to compete and starve. This red meat illness even knocks out some of our wildlife game. Deer hunting is a season for population control. They grow in numbers so much, and in some areas they don't have natural predators. Humans are the natural predators. More of those animals would be seen hit on the road, as their numbers will only grow, and others will look sickly and desperate. Is that really what we want for these animals? A potentially slow and agonizing death over a swift, quick pop? I am a big-time animal lover, but forcing farming and hunting out is not the better option. And unfortunately, for some, it takes seeing it and making it happen before realizing the reality of it. Now, there is talk that scientists are trying to come up with a cure to combat the alpha-gal syndrome, but to my knowledge, it has not been found yet. I do hope they find it, though. I don't want a future of over-competition and vegan lifestyle. That's another point. The grazing animals we would no longer be able to utilize as a food source would also be competing with us as humans, as we would all be plant eaters too. It's all around a bad idea, if that is the plan behind the potential purpose of spreading Lone Star ticks. Now, me personally, I don't care what kind of tick it is. I do not like having ticks crawling on me. Every time I start to feel any kind of crawling feeling on me, I'm immediately paranoid, thinking that it's a freaking tick on me. As a matter of fact, as I've been out here doing this today, I have been feeling creepy crawlies all over my legs this entire time. And if I find a tick, they definitely do not make it to their final stage of life. I usually keep a jar full of rubbing alcohol and collect all the ticks that I find for the year and see how bad they are every year. And so far, this year has been exceptionally bad. They have been everywhere. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for ticks. If there is one attached to you, try to get it off as soon as possible and be very careful in doing so. If you aren't comfortable removing the tick yourself, you could go to any hospital or walk-in clinic and have it removed for you. It is also very important to know the duration of the time that it was attached to you. I hope you enjoyed learning about ticks along with me, while watching me slowly and meticulously flesh this possum. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that little bell at the bottom of your screen to keep up with new posts and projects weekly. That's all for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there and keep your eyes peeled for ticks. See you next week. Bye.